The evening began as a typical weekend get-together. The space buzzed with friends, colleagues, and recognizable faces at an upscale dinner party thrown by one of my wife's co-workers. Gentle music played, the lights glowed dimly, and cheerful voices bounced off every wall. I lingered by the bar, talking with work acquaintance, when my eyes found Emily, my wife, standing on the far side of the room. She was breathtaking in her red silk dress, catching every shimmer from the overhead lights. Yet it wasn't her appearance that held my gaze. It was the way she acted. She stood much too near to a man I had never seen before. Each time she laughed, her fingers grazed his arm. He carried himself with bold assurance. She, meanwhile, projected unmistakable openness. A painful knot formed in my chest, part fury, part sorrow. I recognized the pattern instantly. The extended touches, the private grins, the murmured comments disguised as innocent humor. I forced myself to inhale slowly, to keep composure, to avoid making a spectacle. But the longer I observed, the more undeniable it became. The person I cherished had drifted far from the woman who once gripped my hand, as though I were her whole universe. When I finally crossed the room toward them, she flinched for a split second before masking it with a wide smile. "Hey, babe," she chirped, acting completely innocent. "This is Nick. He just started at the office." Nick pivoted toward me, flashing that relaxed, knowing grin, the expression men give when they've overstepped and feel no remorse. "Nice to meet you," he said, extending his hand. I took it, my grip firm, deliberate, and noticeably cool. Emily let out a light giggle and placed her palm gently on his shoulder. "Relax," she teased. We were only chatting about how harmless flirting keeps everything exciting. The group nearby chuckled, taking her words as light-hearted banter. I didn't join in the laughter. I simply studied her, truly studied her. The self-satisfied curve of her lips, the confidence she wore like armor, the way she basked in every admiring glance. In that instant, something fundamental inside me changed. I offered a calm smile and replied, "You're absolutely correct, Emily. Being single will most likely be enjoyable too." The room's amusement vanished in a heartbeat. Her expression locked in place, smile frozen awkwardly. Her hand slipped away from Nick's arm as the blood left her cheeks. "Wait, what do you mean by single?" she asked, a faint shake in her tone. I stayed silent. No explanation was necessary. I turned and walked off, leaving her stranded amid a crowd that suddenly found the floor or the ceiling more interesting than eye contact. As I moved toward the door, her voice trailed after me, soft and uncertain. "Jason, come on." It was only a joke. But it wasn't a joke, not in my world. It marked the breaking point in a relationship constructed on endless forgiveness she had never truly earned. Back at home, the quiet between us roared louder than any shouting match. She pretended the incident never occurred. "You're seriously mad about that?" she said, flinging her purse onto the sofa. I was simply being sociable. I met her gaze and answered quietly. Sociable means greeting someone. What you displayed was disrespect. Her confident expression flickered. "Oh, please. You're blowing this out of proportion." I gave a small, dry laugh and shook my head. "No, Emily. I'm finally responding appropriately. There's a clear distinction." I stepped into the bedroom, pulled out a suitcase, and began filling it. She trailed behind, real alarm entering her voice. "You can't actually mean this, Jason. You're walking out over a harmless joke." I closed the zipper with finality and looked directly into her eyes. "You describe flirting as harmless fun," I said. "Then being single will be harmless too." Her bravado collapsed entirely. "Jason, please don't," she whispered, tears welling up. But I had reached my limit. For years I had overlooked her midnight messages, her questionable girls' nights, her endless craving for attention from other men. Each time she would insist, "It's nothing important. Don't get jealous." Jealousy had never been the problem. The issue was disloyalty masquerading as harmless playfulness. I moved past her without another syllable, leaving her crying in the doorway. The doors firm close behind me sounded like liberation, the sound of finally prioritizing my own worth. The following days brought a flood of pleading calls and lengthy texts. She begged for another chance, wrote pages explaining how she hadn't intended any harm, and swore she would transform. I left every one unanswered. Each plea echoed the identical deception I had accepted countless times. She didn't long for me. She longed for security of knowing I would always return. In truth, her respect for me had vanished long before that evening. The party simply supplied the strength to quit, pretending our bond remained salvageable. Weeks passed, and a shared friend reached out to say she was falling apart. She barely speaks to anybody, he told me. She keeps wondering whether you've truly left forever. I gave him the honest answer. I departed that night and never turned around. Because once you witness your partner sharing the same delighted laughter with another man that she once reserved for you, the image burns permanently. It alters something profound within you, something impossible to restore. A month afterward, she appeared at my new place. She looked exhausted, shadows beneath her eyes, makeup streaked, voice unsteady. "Jason, please," she pleaded. "I was foolish. I stopped appreciating you. I'll do whatever it takes to repair this." I stood with arms folded, listening without interruption. "You want to repair it?" I asked gently. "You cannot repair something you deliberately ruined." She crumbled, sobbing, stretching toward my hand. I carefully withdrew it. "Emily, you didn't lose me that night at the party. You lost me every single time you treated my trust like something disposable." I shut the door that evening, permanently. No rage remained, only calm acceptance. In the months that came after, I reconstructed my life. A different city, fresh employment. A simple apartment where silence felt peaceful instead of heavy. Occasionally, my mind drifted back to her and that moment at the gathering. I could still see the way her face paled when those words left my mouth. Being single will be fun, too. That single quiet pause communicated more than any heated exchange ever could. Now, when someone inquires about what ended our marriage, I don't recount the full tale. I simply smile and reply, she believed flirting was harmless fun. I believe self-respect was harmless too. And if I'm completely truthful, I've never felt more truly alive since I chose the latter.